at all of these tomatoes. I went out there because it is pouring rain and it's supposed to be raining for the next 3 days. So I wanted to go outside and get as many tomatoes as I can before they start splitting from all the water. So I got all of these, and I've got a few more over there that aren't quite ripe, so I'm gonna let those sit out. But I'm gonna go ahead and start making some tomato sauce with all of these tomatoes that I have right here. So let's get started with canning some tomato sauce. All right, friends, so all of my tomatoes are washed. Now we need to go ahead and get rid of the core, and then we are gonna put a slice on the bottom, and we're gonna go ahead and put this in hot boiling water for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, pull it out and stick it in cold water. You want to boil it just long enough to where you see the skin starting to peel off of your tomato. Let's go ahead and core it and then get it into our pot of boiling water. I'm using a melon baller. I do not have a tomato core, so I'm using the melon baller. It works just as well. And then go ahead and cut on the bottom a nice little X, and then we're gonna go ahead and drop it in some water. And we are just gonna continue doing that with all of our tomatoes until we have them all peeled, cored, and then we're gonna work on chopping them and getting them into the bucket or into the pot and start boiling the tomatoes down. And if you have any spots on your tomatoes that are not pretty, go ahead and cut those out, and that way it's already taken care of and you don't have to worry about it. Or after we go ahead and remove the skin on them, at that time when we get ready to chop them up, we can also cut off the bad parts. See how easily that just peels right off. All right, friends, so now I have about 6 tomatoes cut up and put in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get it on the fire, and I'm gonna mash it down with a potato masher and get it going, and it's gonna start cooking and pulling out all that liquid. All right, friends, so I went ahead and added about 6 more tomatoes to that pot. I'm gonna go ahead and smash it again. So the whole thing is you put 6 in, smash it, put another 6, smash it, while you're processing your other tomatoes, putting them in the hot water, taking them out, getting the skin, cutting them up, putting them in. And every time you put them in, about 6 in there, go ahead and smash it with the potato masher, and then just keep going with the process. All right, friends, so I have all of my tomatoes are now inside the pot, and I'm just gonna give it one more mash just to make sure everything is really smashed really good in here. And then we're gonna go ahead and let it come to a boil, and we are gonna let it do that boil for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll go ahead and come back and we're gonna start straining it through a sieve, and then we will return it back to the pot. All right, so I'll see you guys back in about 10 minutes or so. Absolutely nothing goes to waste. All of this cored tomato and the skin and anything else that wasn't good enough to put in my sauce is gonna go outside of the chickens and the pigs. So I'm gonna take this outside of them right now. All right, friends, so our tomatoes have been sitting on the stove boiling for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and now strain out all of the juice and the pulp. I wanna make sure I have the pulp and the seeds staying inside here and the juice goes to the bottom. And then once we do all this, then we'll put it back into the same pot and let it cook down some more. So you're gonna work in batches. So I'm gonna do 2 cups at a time, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and smash the rest of this in here to try to get out as much of the tomato juice as possible. And again, we don't waste anything, so all this extra pulp and seeds I will take out and give to the chickens. All right, friends, so I am almost done. So I'm gonna put the remainder in here. While the last bit of that drains out, I'm gonna go ahead and wash this pot so I can put it all back in here. Here is our tomato juice. Now to put it back on the stove to create sauce. All right, friends, so now I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the stove, and we are gonna start letting this reduce down. So if you want a thinner tomato sauce, then you're gonna reduce it by 1/4. If you want to have a thicker sauce, then you're gonna reduce it by 1/2. So I'm just gonna let it go until it's about halfway down and it's nice and thick, and then we'll go ahead and put it into our jars. Make sure you come in and stir it periodically so it doesn't start burning. All right, friends, so our tomato sauce has finally reduced by 1/2. I've got my hot jars right here. So we are gonna go ahead and start filling up our jars. All right, friends, for canning all of our tomato sauce, I am following the complete book of home preservation by Ball, and the recipe I'm following is on page 362. This is your basic tomato sauce. I will be pressure canning this, not water bath canning it. So I do have the recipe here for pressure canning. And in order to make it safe to can, because this is a tomato sauce and the acidity in it is different, you need to add lemon juice to your jars. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. For my pint-sized jars, I need to be adding 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to each jar, or you can use citric acid. I'm gonna do lemon juice, and you have to use a bottled lemon juice that is already tells you the acidity level in it. You cannot use fresh lemons, you have to use bottled. And then I'm also gonna be adding some pickling or canning salt that I have to each of the jars as well for that salt flavor. All right, friends, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my tomato sauce first to the jars, and then I will go add my salt and my lemon, because I'm not exactly sure how many jars I will end up canning with what I've got here. So I don't wanna overdo the jars, so I'm just gonna do the tomato sauce first, and then I'll come through with the salt and the lemon. All right, so now to each of the jars, I'm gonna be adding 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to each of the jars. And now I'm gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of canning salt to each of the jars. Now you wanna get a rag, get it damp, and you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna wipe your rings to make sure they are clean. This is to help allow your lids to seal properly. My lids were all cleaned with soap and water, and then you're gonna put them on finger tight. All right, friends, so now that our jars are in here, I'm gonna go ahead and put our lid on and lock it into place. Then I'm gonna let the steam come up to pressure. I'm gonna let it vent for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and put my weighted gauge on top. Once that comes up to 10, I'm gonna start our time for 15 minutes. At the end of the 15 minutes, I'm gonna turn off the fire and let the pressure come down. Once the pressure has fully come down, you're gonna remove your weighted gauge, and then you're gonna take your lid off and allow your jars to settle for another 5 minutes before you take them out. So I'll see y'all back in about 15 minutes. All right, friends, so it's been 15 minutes. I turned off the fire and I let it completely cool down. Went ahead and removed our weighted gauge, took off the lid, and let this sit for another 5 minutes. So now I'm gonna go ahead and remove my jars. I'm gonna be placing them on a towel. You do not wanna put them on a cold surface. You wanna make sure you put them on a towel, because that cold surface can shock your jars, which are very, very hot, and cause them to break. So you wanna make sure you have a barrier underneath your jar and your table. So go ahead and put a towel down, and then we're gonna bring our jars out. When you're removing your jars, you're gonna lift them straight out and take them and put them on your towel. Do not tip them. Water may be on the top, but it will evaporate. Go ahead and take it and put it on your towel. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the remainder of my jars. All right, friends, so now our jars are going to sit here and cool for 24 hours, and they will start to seal. You might hear some popping, but you're gonna let them stay here for 24 hours. At that time, we're gonna come back, check them to make sure they have fully sealed. If they have not sealed, you're gonna go ahead and reprocess them exactly how we did, put them back in the canner and do it again. At that time, if they still do not seal, there may be something wrong with your lid, and then you're gonna go ahead and take that and put it in the refrigerator and just use that in the matter of a week or so. But the rest of the jars that have fully sealed, you can go ahead and take the rings off, clean them really good, label them, date them, and put them in your pantry. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this video of me making our own tomato sauce from our tomatoes that we grew here in our garden. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. As always, I hope all is well, and have a blessed day.